What happens when the world's greatest detective takes on the world's most notorious serial killer? You get Batman, Gotham by Gaslight, based off the Elseworlds graphic novel of the same name. This movie stars Bruce Greenwood as Batman, reprising his role from Under the Red Hood. Jennifer Carpenter portrays Selena Kyle, and Scott Patterson portrays Jim Gordon. Batman, Gotham by Gaslight. This movie is awesome. I am a sucker for period piece movies, and I love the whole look and aesthetic of this film. They really did a good job at capturing that steampunk industrial age look of how the world was back in back in the late 1800s going into the 1900s. They really captured that look perfectly, and to me, Batman is a character that fits so well in a setting like that. Particularly if you're doing like a gritty crime story, which is what this is. This is a gritty crime detective story, and it's really well written, it's well acted, it's beautifully paced. This movie never gets boring. Once you put it in and you watch it, you're instantly hooked. The animation looks great. I mean, yes, you got some dips in quality here and there with some of the animations. Some scenes look better than most, but for the most part, it's not jarring or distracting because it does have a solid story that keeps you sucked in at all times. And you have brilliant acting going on. Bruce Greenwood does a fantastic job in this movie. I like how he gives both Bruce and Batman like distinct voices, harkening back to how Kevin Conroy would do it. And he was beautiful. He's expert. Jennifer Carpenter as Selena. I like how they handle Selena's character in this movie. I like how they have her pretty much like the guardian of the dregs of society that Gotham City ignores. I like how she is their hero. She's their voice. All that stuff is great. I like how they didn't go ham. I like how they didn't go cheesy with Jack the Ripper. They actually made Jack the Ripper a threat in this movie. This movie is rated R, and the movie uses that rating without abusing that rating. You do see blood splash when he goes to kill, but you never see any penetration. You see the aftermath. But I like how they made him a threat. They made him a serious threat, and the whole rivalry between Batman and Jack throughout the entire movie is fantastic, especially when you get to the end and a big twist happens, which I'll get to momentarily. And I will put a spoiler warning for those who don't want to know what happens. But when you get to that ending, and knowing the character histories between Batman and who's revealed to be Jack, it's when you have their prior history in mind, then you watch this movie and get to the end. To me, it's very, very satisfying, and it opens up just like this whole new thing, which I thought was pretty cool. If I have one criticism, to me, this movie did not have enough red herrings. No, I would have liked to have seen more red herrings. You have stuff with Harvey Dent, but you didn't really go there. And I think the movie tries to hint that Hugo Strange, who's in this movie, could be a suspect, but they don't really do enough with those two to warrant that, is what I'm trying to say. Which I thought was a missed opportunity and would have made for a more meteor detective vibe. But aside from all that, this is an overall great movie. It hits all the right spots. It's beautifully acted. The animation looks fantastic. Jack the Ripper comes across as a real threat. And I think this movie really is held together mostly by the relationship between Bruce and Selena, which I thought this movie did expertly and perfectly. I also like the stuff they got with Alfred, and I also like the inclusion of Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, and Jason Todd as these three little orphans that end up working for Alfred and eventually are adopted by Bruce at the end of the movie. I thought that was a nice little fan servicey cool way to have those three Robins in the movie, which I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, my overall grade for Gotham by Gaslight is a solid 9 out of 10. If you have not seen this movie, you gotta watch it. It's really damn good, especially for like those DC animated movies. Okay, so now let's get to the spoiler section of the review. Jim Gordon is revealed to be Jack the Ripper, and I love it. I love what they did with Jim Gordon's character in this movie, especially since you went with a big reveal. And I think it works. For me, it personally works, especially when Batman discovers that it is Jim, and we see that, you know, Jim was involved in a couple of wars, and it really fucked up his head, and it really made him detached from society. You know, when we see Jim Gordon, he's presented how it normally is, you know, a good cop who wants to clean up Gotham. But since he's now Jack the Ripper, he's taken that to the extreme. He is now killing who he deems unworthy, you know, like the whores and dregs of society. By him killing them, he's cleaning the world. He's cleaning up Gotham. And I just love that. And it just goes to show just how mentally broken this man really is. And it's even more prevalent when you see his wife and what he did to his wife. You know, Jim's whole thing is, you know, cleanse them by fire. You know, he cleansed his wife by burning half her face, and it looks gruesome. And I like, on a second watch, they do like these little they do like these little camera tricks where, like, there's this one scene when you see Jim and his wife talking, you never see his wife in a full frame. You always see half of her face. And I thought that was, and on a second view, what I picked up on that, I was like, wow, that's pretty clever. It's a good, that's a clever way of, that's really, really clever. Really, really clever. I like that a lot. And again, another reason why I like the whole idea of Jim Gordon playing Jack the Ripper, because it opens up this. What would happen if Batman's greatest ally, being Commissioner Gordon, turned into his most deadliest enemy, as in Jack the Ripper? I love that dynamic in that this movie opened up and put and gave us. I thought this was a great twist. I thought it was better than the twist in the original Elseworld story, which to me doesn't really have no connection. But knowing the histories of Batman and Gordon, that prior connection, and now you have it in this movie, and that twist happens, it really just, like, to me, it's satisfying. Because who would ever thought that Jim Gordon would go over the edge and become a killer? He's the good cop, you know. He's the one who legitimately is one of the few good cops in Gotham that you can trust and legitimately wants to fix the city. But what happens when he gets pushed over the edge? You get Batman Gotham by Gaslight. So yeah, I thought that was all fantastic. Okay, well, those are my thoughts on Batman Gotham by Gaslight. If you like or have seen this, if you like this movie, let me know what you thought about it. If you had not seen this movie, let me know why you haven't seen this movie. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.